Excellent. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first MSSP partner webinar. My name is Abdes Afras, and I'm very excited to run you through our session today. I'm going to share with you what the agenda is for today and what the purpose is. Most of you, the people I see on the list, I'm very excited to see some new names we've been in touch with recently. A lot of good changes within the organization, and we thought that is actually a good reason to bring the MSSP partner webinar series and keep you updated, which is, as you can see here, I'm calling it WTF, where is the fire in the stock? And today we have finding real incidents in the world of endless alerts. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of this and you're very familiar with this. So it's an education session for Strike 48. Can you go back one slide quickly? Thank you. For our MSSP partners globally, we're in the process of building new programs for our MSSPs. And what we're going to cover, just briefly, why agentic AI is redefining security operations. Then the real cost of alert fatigue for your SOC and clients, shifting from alert triage to investigation-driven ops, and then how Strike 48 helps you find the incident faster. So this is the quick agenda. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. Just the housekeeping rules. The Q&A. You can always use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but just want to remind everyone, there's a recording. This is being recorded, and we will provide after the session to all attendees and registrants, and probably to others who did not attend. And then at the end, you can also ask for Strike 48 demo. Most of you know Tim, you see here as well, but you see the link here. You can click on it to request demo. Thank you. Next slide, please. Who we are. Now, Strike 48 is a new product brand from Depot. We've been working with Depot, most of you, for many years, and just wanted to share this a little bit of the story behind that. A lot of good numbers here. You can see we're managing petabytes of data on a daily basis. We have a lot of good clients globally, but what people quite often ask why Strike 48 is named after 1848 for the people who live in the US will know that. The year prospectus struck gold in California, and we thought the gold is already in your logs, and Strike 48 will help you to extract it. And we want to do this together. I'm not going to talk too much about what Strike 48 actually does, because we're going to have a demo at the end with Tim. And what we just see is that there's a lot of interest when it comes to agentic AI approaches here. Thank you. For the next slide, please. So very important because the company is investing heavily in our MSSP, so in you. And this is the team you see now. We're going to work with mostly, but I'm sure there will be other people. But start with me. My name is Abdes Afras. I'm in charge of MSSPs, and I'm going to be the person as well as kind of pestering you with requesting you for new orders, but also be a person always when you have any challenges to come to me, and I will then try to get the right resources internally. Most of you know Tim Leehealey, VP Strategy. He's going to take over soon to do the presentations. He's the co-founder of Strike 48. Tim has been in the business for many, many years, and he's bringing a lot of experience that has helped the company actually to move into the right direction, how I see it. Kennedy is supporting us on operational support. You'll see a lot of emails and requests coming from her. Please make sure you respond to emails to her, because that is going to help us to understand also your requests and challenges. Also important to be in touch actually with JL. JL Jose is our head of professional services. Very important department. He and his team is going to help you to, how we want to call it, want to be on the green side, meaning be happy with your environment, with us, and with the product. So you will see more and more requests coming from Jan and his team, where we will try to set up probably bi-weekly calls. And Aaron Dunn, our head of marketing, we're going to have a lot of joint events, joint marketing support also to the work on it and to know him. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is the moment I'm handing over to Tim. Enjoy, and over to you, Tim.
Yeah. So again, great up. Thank you very much, Abdes. I'm really eager to talk to the audience again. I think most of you have met me in one respect or another. This, as Abdes said, is a kickoff to a whole series of webinar like events. Our goal is to stay really, really connected with you guys as partners. We want to go get aggressively into the market. We're really excited about the technology we have to bring to bear. We think together we can make a real splash and move very quickly to secure new customers. It benefits both of our respective orgs. And we just can't do that without you. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of these. The hope is to keep you fully informed about how we see the market, about what new technologies we're bringing to the market, and how they can really benefit us both mutually. I don't think this slide really should surprise anybody, or the fact that we're pushing so aggressively should surprise anybody. Agentic AI, agentic SOC, it isn't coming. It is here. We got into this very early. We sort of announced our first agentic SOC capability back in May of last year. And since at that point, people were debating whether you wanted sort of pre-sold agents, whether you wanted an agent builder, whether agentic was something, whether we would all be co-pilot. The market is very much settled at this point. The agentic SOC is the road forward. You're seeing it adopted across the market. And that is why we're so eager to partner aggressively, because it is not only an incredible opportunity for us, but it's an outright existential threat. We view ourselves as a sort of like the arms dealer for you guys as MSSPs. We view you as our avenue to market, but it doesn't take much a scanning of the news to see that a lot of the big players in this space are viewing agentic as AI as a way to replace the entire services market. You have companies like 7AI running around basically saying, hey, you don't need your MSSP. Trust me, we are deep in this technology. That is not true. But that message resonates with some people. And I think we as a group need to counter that messaging with just building AIs and sock in a box. None of that really works. What makes this technology powerful is form fitting it with expertise to the customer's end environment and the customer's end needs. And you can't do that if you're just going to buy, 7AI's sock in a box or Palo or CrowdStrike or whatever one of them is sort of saying, hey, we're going to do away with all the people involved in IT security. It doesn't work. And I am playing with these technologies every single day. Not only is it here on the sort of the demand side, and you just see these numbers, but the reality is you really can't sell aggressively anymore into these markets unless you have a robust sort of AI play, which I think again gives us a really good opportunity as a team to go aggressively after each of your markets. And why is that? Because a lot of the traditional players, the Splunks of the world, they don't yet have nearly the developed message, nearly the developed technology that Strike 48 does. And so I do think there is a unique opportunity, and I do not think it will last forever. But I do think there's a unique opportunity in the next, let's say, 9 months for us, again, as a team to get aggressive and really get into the market and capture a lot of market share. And so, again, that is why we're engaging you. That is why we plan to spend a whole lot of time with every one of you. Anything you need from us, please reach out. Abdes just gave you the key people that can support you, but we are all about it. If you're like, hey, Tim, a Gentic sock in a box. We see that that's not the message, but in our market, we think these use cases, A, B, and C, would be really powerful. We're really sensitive to, HIPAA in the US or GDPR in Europe or whatever, or we're really sensitive in Asia to these type of threats. Let us know. Tell us what unique combinations of agents and workflows would really sing in your market. You will find us eager partners to develop that and customize it to your specific needs. It's not just that it's here on the customer side. The fact is, it is here on the practitioner side as well. When you look at what these technologies can do in terms of transforming the way you guys respond to your customers, it is amazing. On top of this chart, you see the typical sort of statistics. We all know we've been referring to these forever. SOAR vendors have been talking about alert fatigue forever. We all get it, but nothing has really changed this dynamic. AI really and agentic intelligence really represents a step forward, a real change in the landscape of how you can deal with these. It really is the first time I've ever seen a technology that can not only distinguish at a surface level between a false positive and a true positive, but go so deep as to find the full extent of the compromise in the true positive. And that then measures the ultimate the point of distinction between a false positive and true positive. In a true positive, you can go all the way down. You can find what the extent of the compromise is. You can generate a nice report. These are the first set of technologies that allow us to do that really at scale. And it changes the way, again, we can totally go to market. Again, as a team, it allows you guys to transform how you deploy your headcount, how you scale your businesses, the degree to which you are able to offer services that go beyond just sort of L1, L2 triage. You can offer those higher value services. You can offer them at a greater scale. Again, this is not sock in a box. This is not silver bullet. It is transformative tooling, but we want to work with you guys each on an individual basis to figure out what combination of this stuff really enables you to move forward. I have had conversations, some of our closest MSSPs, and I have built solutions for them, and they have been like, this is fantastic. This really changes the way we do business. Then I roll confidently into another MSSP, and I'm like, look at the cool stuff I can do. And they have told me, hey, Tim, that's great. None of it's relevant to us. That's not how we do business. That's not how we go to market. So I'm like, oh, that's no problem. I'm not selling one size fits all. I'm partnering. Let's figure out how you go to business and how I can mold these technologies to serve you in scaling your businesses and elevating the services you offer. If we sort of talk, and this is very much a slide that is connected, at least conceptually, with that last slide. If we talk about how we used to do business just 6 months ago, or is it maybe even still how we are doing businesses, this formula on the left represents the math, if you will, that we all take to market. It's effectively a headcount driven formula. You've got the typical formula for work here, but in our practical day to day, it is to scale my business. I need more L1s need more L2s. I basically take a human workforce and I try to optimize their work so that maybe one day my L1 can scale across three customers instead of one, or maybe five customers if I get good 10 customers, whatever the metric is. And we do all that through pretty deterministic multi-tenant type technologies. But fundamentally, it is tied to that human element, and it is a restrictor. That is not the case in an agentic world. If we do this right, I believe we can completely automate the L1 analyst work. Again, I will be very, very clear in saying that if I rolled in today into your environment and I deployed my L1 agent that may have worked on another MSSP, you may say, Tim, that's trash. It doesn't work. But let's again work together to define what your L1 looks like, what you want it to do, what markets you're trying to serve with it. And those workflows can definitely be automated. L2, I actually am even more blown away by what we can do at the L2 level, because when you think about how complex that typically is, it's just amazing how quickly we can get from just the initial alert going off to a fully automated response to it, in which we have a completely detailed PowerPoint or PDF that we can share with the customer. And then stock management is still going to be human led. That's about customer interaction. We can absolutely transform the way that works, enabling the customer, if you will, to come directly into the environment, feel more connected to you guys as service providers, as well as the health of their underlying network. But it is still very much a human touch type position, right? And then you can see kind of when we sort of parse out these different sort of activities, how they differ in an agentic world versus a traditional world. But it's just transformative. Again, it takes some massaging, it takes some working together, but we can get it right. We have gotten it right. We have partners that are selling at scale aggressively. And it is our hope that all of you will want to come on that journey with us. In terms of what we can sell when we go to market together, we can sell not only a much faster point of sort of coverage landscape in terms of being able to proactively provide threat intel and being able to proactively sort of make sure we are covering the vulnerability landscape, as well as dramatically faster response, dramatically better investigations, more headcount efficiency, and ultimately the defense that I'm hoping together we can construct against the sock in the box agenda of some other vendors out there, is that we can also deliver that 60 to 80% cost reduction, but scale the human touch that is inherent in an MSSP and the direct client knowledge that is inherent in an MSSP model, and build, if you will, a much more powerful product for the end customer versus the dream of just a completely autonomous sock in the box. You never have to worry about it again, which we, again, as I've said many times already today, which we don't think is the road forward. We think the road forward is combining AI with human expertise, with people with knowledge of the customer endpoint. And that is what delivers the real value, not some dream of agents running around and completely automating the entire IT stack. We're talking to you guys as MSSPs. I'm going to show you a quick demo of our agentic SOC solution, or at least a small fraction of it. But I do want to encourage you guys to think about this more broadly. It is not sort of a simple alert triage solution. It's not just L1, it's L2. It's all sorts of use cases, and every one of you guys that I've sat down and talked to has a different set of use cases. Some of you want more robust reporting. Some of you want more compliance-based oriented stuff. Some of you are happy with the traditional L1, L2. Some of you want more threat hunting, more proactive work, right? There is a whole ecosystem we can address. It is not just traditional SIM. It is really log intelligence. And there's so many points of value in logs that we together can bring to our combined customers. That's really what we're hoping to work with you to develop over the coming sort of months. Sorry, I accidentally hit my button twice. And this kind of talks exactly to that. When we traditionally, if you go to a 7AI, they're talking about agenticizing the SOC. Again, SOC in the box, Palo, CrowdStrike, they're all here. But you've got compliance tools like Delve, like whatever, that are trying to identify compliance. Same with Datadog and Grafana in observability. Together, we want to take an entirely different approach. We're hoping you will come on a different journey with us, because what we are being told by our end customers is not that they have some initiative to agenticize the SIM. Nobody says that to us. What the CIOs and CISOs that we are talking to, they are under pressure to implement AI across the IT stack, right? And this technology, Strike 48, allows us to do that. Obviously, you guys are MSSPs. That is where we are leading. The soft spot, the high part of the wave, if you will, is the agentic SOC, and we want to lean into that with you guys. But we can differentiate ourselves beyond that. Your customers have needs that go beyond L1 and L2. And with this technology, we can not only embrace that, but we can differentiate ourselves from the competitive products that are just focused on agenticizing one small piece of the IT stack. All right, let me quickly jump into a very short demo here. It's going to be our typical L1, L2 alert response. Many of you have already seen it. Typically, it takes me several, 10 to 20 minutes to do this. I'm going to speed run it a little bit for the sake of the timing here, because I'm a long-winded guy. I already spent too much time talking. But keep in mind a couple of things. Number one, the solution allows you to customize this. This doesn't have to be the be all end all. We can work together to make sure how you guys want triage done is how it is done in your environments. The other thing I would keep in mind is this is just kind of what we have canned. It doesn't have to be the end. We could incorporate forensics investigations, phishing agents. There's so much more that can be done with this platform. But having said that, let's go through how this all works, right? The concept is we are away from, let's imagine for a second that we are all away from our environment, that we are all somewhere else. We have gone, we're having a team outing, if you will, and we're on the golf course where we're at dinner. The power of an agentic SOC is not just that it does things in an automated way and far better than it has been previously done. Part of the power is you don't even need to be in front of it. So in this sort of fantasy I am laying out, let's pretend we're on the golf course or something, and our whole SOC team is away from the environment. But I've got my L1 there, I've got my L2, and I've got my SOC manager, and I'm going to pretend I'm the SOC manager. And I sit there, and we all have Slack or Teams or whatever, and we've got it on our phones. And my L1's phone rings, right? It buzzes, and he looks at his phone, and he's gotten this alert. There's no risk. It's not escalated. He's like, guys, no big deal. I'm going to continue putting, right? Fine. A little bit later, he gets another alert. Another alert. His phone is constantly buzzing. Why? Because he's the L1, right? And he's constant, and there are constantly environments alerts in his purview that are false positives. But eventually his phone goes off sort of 9:21 a.m. And he's like, oh my gosh, guys, sorry. Like, based on what I know, based on my job, this is a true positive. It looks like we've got a ransomware incident. And so, sorry, boss, I'm going back to work. So he goes back to work. He said this alert gets escalated to the L2. The L2 is sitting there. And if I scrolled around, I could find a bunch more where the escalation doesn't end up doing anything. But let's just stay with the idea that this escalation actually mattered. On the L2's phone goes off and he says, oh, shoot. In fact, yes, boss, there is an issue here. This is getting escalated to the SOC manager. So your phone, Mr. Manager, is about to go off. We think there's an issue. Here are the 7 MITRE tactics. Here are the 8 techniques. Here's what we think the business impact is. And then lo and behold, a few seconds later, the SOC manager's phone is also going to go off. Now, at any point, any one of them can click on this and go into the case management of the solution. But since we have it open, I'm going to go ahead and directly open it up. And in here, they can get a summary of everything that has been done pre-programmed by that L1, by that L2. And I'll just randomly click on the ransomware because that's where we started. And we can see here, this isn't just a summary of the case. This is entirely configurable. Again, we can work together. What is it you want your L1s to do? What is it you want your L2s to do? And when you show up in the system, this will be a summary of what they did. In our vision, in our current implementation, we present an executive summary, we present threat actor attributes, entity mapping, compromised accounts, the kill chain timeline, full MITRE attack chain analysis, everything that we think you would want, but you may differ. Again, it's up to you. All the alerts that were part of the issue, any activity that went in, this may look like a SOAR playbook. Some of it actually is, but it can be all generated dynamically by the agents based on the nature of this incident. The other super cool thing you can do is, let's go back to the summary. Let's say we want to challenge our SOC 2 about what he did. We can just say hello, and we're going to wake him up to this case. When we say hello here, he's going to immediately read the case. You can see he said, look, here's the case. What are you interested in knowing? What do you want to ask me? And I can challenge him. It's like, why do you think X, Y, and Z? Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. And I can have a whole conversation with him and understand not only the data behind why he did what he did, but maybe go even further than he initially did as part of his programmatic investigation. And I can do that across. It's not just with those analysts. Let's say I wanted to do that with a forensics analyst. Again, I say hello, I wake him up to the case. And then I can say, go acquire the disk, go acquire memory, do that next step. Let me quickly also show you what it looks like for each individual analyst. Remember, in our fantasy land, we were all on the golf course and the SOC 1 said, sorry guys, I gotta go. What he would do when he arrives back at work, he would click on workflows, say, okay, this is the most recent workflow, and here is my report. Again, entirely customizable, guys, but this I think is a pretty good one. Here's my report. Here's what that L1, agentic L1 did. Here's the executive summary, the observables, the task reviews, the triage decisions, and the recommended next steps, right? Not only as an L1 can I now say, okay, listen, my job is not only to follow up on this, but verify it. So I have this report. I can produce it up to the manager. I can produce it out to the client, but I can also use it in conjunction with this full audit trail to assess whether or not I feel like the AI did its job and did it well, right? It's not just a black box. It's fully auditable. You can literally track this stuff and say, oh yeah, based on this stuff, I see why it came to the conclusion it did. After a while, I think you will get very comfortable that it is producing high fidelity results. It is, in fact, producing high fidelity results. But let's trust but verify, right? You have the ability to verify here. Let me show you what it looks like for the L2. Again, we're going to come in here. We're going to click on the case. And again, a really nice summary of what the L2 analyst did, but with that L2 level analysis. So executive summary, business impact, key findings, patient zero, attack timeline, MITRE attack mapping, vulnerabilities exploited, indicators of compromise. I mean, it's just really, really, and recommended next actions. It's really, really thorough. I spent my whole life in the forensics industry. Um, I was actually the owner of Access Data. If any of you guys know Access Data FTK, we would sell forensic services to customers for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we would not in a position to develop reports this comprehensive, this accurate, and it would take weeks, not minutes. So this is really a transformative offering. And again, the SOC manager could do the same thing. He could click in, he could come to his reports, and he would be able to see all that same information. The last thing I want to leave you with before I sort of just give some final comments is the job of an MSSP is so hard. Not only are you meant to secure the customer, be proactive, keep them out of trouble, but you have to constantly educate them as to what you are doing, right? That task gets so much less difficult in a solution like this. We have full RBOC. You can open this up so that the client themselves can come in and interact with the SOC manager. And if they want to report on what's going on, if they want to mean time to response metrics, mean time to detection metrics, they need do nothing other than click a button. They don't need to pester you. You don't need to make it a whole exercise. And again, we can entirely configure them. See, this is asking, do you want for the last 8 hours? Do you want for the past week? Whatever. These buttons can be configured to customer needs. So at this point, I could just say 8 hours, hit return, and it would go develop that report for us. So a lot in this. This is just sort of to give you a taste of what I think we can do together and how I think we can transform not just your businesses, but the whole landscape. And we really can only do it together. So last sort of few comments I want to make. The proof of the pudding is always in the eating. First of all, I am ready at any time you guys want to spin up an environment for you guys to start playing with. We want to engage with you to customize use cases to your needs, to your wants. It takes a number of sessions to really get proficient, but it's days, it's not months. We have also launched our PLG motion or open source solution or freeware, however you want to see it. I would love it if you would just copy down this Strike 48/pick, click on it, go to it, go to Git, download it, and start playing. It's just again a taste of what we can do, but it opens up so many use cases for us. Run a vulnerability scan, run a network scan on your home networks, run the auto-pwn feature of PIC. It's going to blow you guys away. It's going to open your minds. You're going to be like, okay, how can I do this for my customers? And let's engage together to figure out how to be most effective doing that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Abdez, for setting this up, and Erin for coordinating everything. Again, the first of many. Let us know what you'd like future ones to be, and we will do our best to cater to you. And like I've said from the very outset, please engage us aggressively. We are going to market exclusively through partners like yourselves. We need to be successful. This is the playbook I think we can use to achieve that, but it's going to be a joint effort. It's going to be a lot of work. So anyway, thank you very much for the time, and that's it for me.
Yeah, that's great, Tim. Thanks so much. Great session. A lot of great engagement in the comments and the attendees. So um, we do have a few minutes for questions. As Richard mentioned in the beginning, go ahead and or sorry, Abdes mentioned in the beginning, go ahead and put your questions in the chat panel. We will do our very best to get to them, and then of course the recording will be sent around after this. We do have a couple questions as happens, so we'll take a minute or two here to cover them. This is probably a question for you, Tim. I know we covered a lot of different use cases and things like that, but where have customers or where have customers of partners seen the most ROI, the most value here so far to date?
Yeah, so let me answer it in two parts because it's really interesting with this technology, kind of the process a customer goes through, sort of their maturity cycle. Um, Everyone who touches this tool loves the cool factor. Day one, they can start building agents, they can start building workflows. They find that powerful, they find it impactful. It connects them to a technology that they never could connect to before. We all know SIMs are complex. This abstracts all of that complexity away. So right out the gate, you always get customer engagement. And that really sort of paves the road for sort of talking to the customers about, hey, let's use this technology to solve this problem or this problem. That said, where do people sort of quickly resonate in terms of actual ROI? There have been a lot of really positive use cases around phishing. That seems to be an area a lot of customers sort of have trouble dealing with at the moment, for which agentic technology is really well suited. And then, frankly, what I demoed that for a reason, because alert triage, alert fatigue is a real thing. It's undeniable. And those reports that I showed you guys, those are real. They're right. They work, right? Sometimes we need to do some configuration in each individual environment, but it works. And it blows people's mind. And then we've literally found active engagements uh, during a demo, like proof of concept we've rolled out, and they've said, well, let's check on this, and sort of started pulling on the thread, and ultimately the whole thing unraveled. And actually, one last example I'll share for you. One of our very closest MSSP partners who got on this journey early with us um, had a red team exercise run on them by one of their customers, just sort of like a what is my MSSP doing kind of exercise. And then they called the customer up and they were like, hey, have you seen anything? And the customer pointed Strike 48 at the solution in a minute, had a full report, detailed the whole attack timeline, looked so good. It couldn't have been better. So that's kind of the maturity. And it just seems like it's going to keep going because people are like, oh, shoot, could I do this? Could I do that? Could I? And the answer is always effectively yes.
Yeah, that's great. We're nice to be on the ball, as they say. That's great. Another question that comes up, a couple people have asked this in a number of different ways, is around fitting into an existing environment, right? So if you already have a SIM in place or you have SOAR infrastructure in place, where are you locked into, using agents that are provided by those providers, or, how does Strike 48 fit into sort of environments that have multiple layers of technology already deployed?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, I know you have a timeline here, and you know you can't ask me that question without having me
Sorry.
spin off for 30 minutes. But
You have two.
but
Go.
yeah. So listen, the short answer is when we started down this path, we thought we were going to just be Devo. We thought we were agentic. We were going to do an agentic SOC in a box, and we ran into exactly that criticism over and over and over again. So many of our customers are like, yeah, we love Devo, but actually we also have Splunk. Or we ran to MSSPs. We're like, yeah, we're Devo forward, but when a customer has Splunk or Sentinel, we still want to sell our product. And we're like, great. So we have architected this solution to be, in fact, SIM agnostic. At this point, you can point it at Splunk and you should get the exact same results as you would if you were pointing it at Devo. There is always a journey there. If you guys sort of raised your hand and said, hey, we have a Q radar involvement in environment, I'm going to be like, I can get you there, but slow our roll. That's not one we've spent a ton of time with yet. Right. So there is a whole hierarchy here, but the underlying architecture is data source agnostic.
That's great. We do have a question from Jorge as well. This question is, how are you dealing with data sovereignty requirements, particularly as it relates to public administrations within the EU? I don't know if you want to take that one, Tim, or Abdes, if you want to cover that.
No, I'm dying to grab that.
Have you ever been a
So
question you didn't like? That's a better way of phrasing
that's
that.
a good, yeah. No, so listen, I came from a forensics background. I when we started down this journey over a year ago, selling to governments was top of my mind, right? Uh, and as a result, the architecture is entirely LLM agnostic, even open source if you want to plug in a downloadable solution. And not only are we LLM agnostic, we are deployment agnostic. So if you guys want to, hey, I want Strike 48, but I want it in an air gapped on an appliance, I can deliver that. I can deliver it in any form factor you want. Again, the goal here is for us together to get as much market share as fast as possible. So I can do a private cloud in just the EU if you want. I can do air gapped into a NATO network if you want. I can do whatever you want. Again, a hierarchy of implementation. The fastest is public cloud. Great. AWS, I can get you up and running tomorrow. Private cloud, a little bit slower. Your own network, a little bit slower. Air gapped, I'm shipping you an appliance at that point. So there's a hierarchy, but all of it is doable.
Wonderful. Great question. Thanks for that, Jorge. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock. We promised you a tight 45 minutes, and we're right on that number. So I think we'll take this moment to start to wrap up. It was a great session. As Abdes mentioned, we are going to be doing these kind of every other week, I think, is the schedule for the next few months. New topics coming, and we will be sure to communicate with you through the website, directly through email, and also for those of you who are current partners through the partner portal, so you're aware of the upcoming schedule. And we also take requests as was mentioned earlier as well. So if there's particular topics you'd love to hear from us, please do share those. Big thank you to Abdes for kicking us off here and for Tim for the insightful demo. And for all of you who attended for joining us. We look forward to talking to you down the road. Thanks a bunch. Take care.